There it is. Hello, everyone. Just last minute preparations to get started again today, Friday at 2:30. Welcome to my shop. My name is Todd Rains. I'm the owner, along with my wife, Shelly, of Woodturning Tool Store. And I come here every Friday afternoon at 2:30 to kind of connect and, to you folks who are on there it is, Facebook and YouTube. My head's too tall. So we're live streaming to my Facebook page, my profile, and then my YouTube channel. So hope you can stick around as I turn off my phone, turn it over. And I do these live streams hopefully once a week. That schedule may change coming this summer. There's lots of other stuff going on. And we can certainly talk about that as the show kind of rolls. So I've got a little bit of stuff prepared today. I usually don't, but it's nice to kind of have something in mind. I really rely on you folks to kind of bring topics to my attention that you want to hear about. And so if you have something on top of your mind that you would like to talk about, whether it's a tool or a technique or a process, in related to wood turning, of course, then drop in the comments either on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll maybe try and pick that up and make a live stream in the future on it. Today, I think I have enough planned to kind of fill the 45 minutes or an hour or something like that we're going to have today. So we've got a few people here. David Perez, good to see you here again. I just saw you a couple days ago. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. That's very good. And we've got a few people in the background helping me out today. My wife and actually Cindy is helping post some stuff too. So appreciate the help. So I have a couple of things to sort of announce or talk about at the beginning here. Tomorrow I will be doing a demonstration turning an oval box with a sphere lid. So that one is slated for tomorrow at I wonder if I tried that color. I'm not a fan of it. I'm going to bear with me. Don't know if this affects it live. It does. I kind of like this one better. So sorry about that change. Just the look and feel of things. So turning an oval box was a sphere lid. That's going to happen tomorrow. And if I'm looking at, there we go. Just take myself off for a second. So this is kind of what it looks like. We got an oval box and a sphere that's going to be the lid. And it's tomorrow, like I said, April 30th at 12 noon Central Time, which is 1 Eastern, and then 11 Mountain, 10 Pacific. So work out your time zone. Go to my website. Right on the front page of the splash page, you'll find a link to the event and buying a ticket and all that stuff. There should be links now in the comments for you to follow and take a look at those. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do a little bit of something that's kind of related to that today, for doing the sphere work. So stick around and we'll check that out. The next thing I really want to talk about or show is what is the next one? I gotta look. I don't even know. Oh, I think Lyle is having a live stream, or sorry, a Zoom tutorial on Wednesday next week. So Lyle Jameson, friend of mine and Cindy's and stuff, is doing a ABCs of bowls on Wednesday, May 4th at 7 p.m. So check that one out as well. And we'll have a good time there. And then following that week, I believe, Cindy, is this date right? Check it. If it's not, let me know otherwise. But I think May 12th is what you had planned. So she'll post that. That'll be a live stream kind of like this, a free session on Facebook and YouTube. And I think she does Twitch as well. So if there's any Twitch followers. So that's kind of what's going on in the next few days. So I'm hoping that some of it today will help you, maybe think about joining the Zoom demonstration tomorrow. So on the oval box and the sphere. I it was a live stream. I'll show that too. Let me set this up. Did I do that? I didn't do that yet. So 1 second. I thought of something and I didn't prep, and I should have prepped. Let me do one thing here, and we will go to the web page, and I'm on there double because this silly thing, I didn't change that. So on the web, so there's the front page of the web page, just showing the oval box. What I wanted to show is if you come down here to live streams, you'll find that you can actually watch the live stream right on my website. This is the YouTube version of it. So there we are. We're a bit delayed. I'll put my hand up and you'll see it about 15 seconds later. This is the YouTube and so there we are. So you can watch it there. But the good thing about this website, at least what I've done, is I've saved all the other past live streams. So you can go here and watch the past ones. And the one, I don't know if I can find it quickly, but we did one back here a couple months back on turning a tapered cup center. So let me see, I'm back here. And so that live stream was all about creating this this type of, where's mine? That one and that one. Creating this type of device, and let me go overhead. And so here's a Morse taper version of a cup center. So we got a nice little cup there. This is basically a chunk of 2x4 with a hole in it, and the dowel created and glued in. And we sized this to fit a taper in our headstock. So this is number 2 Morse taper. And we did that by just building a simple jig, just a couple of strips of whatever it is. Take whatever sort of Morse taper device you have, glue one block down, stick your piece in there, glue the other block next to it. Now you got a taper jig, so that when you go and turn this little guy on your lathe, you got something to kind of stick up there and compare to. So so that was done on a live stream a few months back. Take a look for that on the website. What this allows us is to drive a spherical form between the headstock and whatever we have in the tailstock. What I've had in the tailstock in the past has not been, the greatest solution. So so what I did is I created a threaded cup center. Before, and I was using a cup center that was just drilled out. So in my normal threaded end of it, my tailstock, it would just sit on there and not really be the best fit. That one actually wasn't the one I used, I don't think. This one just kind of, slid in there and rested on that little bearing surface back there. Not really the best fit. It wobbles a bit and stuff like that. So I bought myself a tap, a 3/4 by 10 tap. Sorry, yeah, 3/4 by 10 tap. That's correct. Took me a while to find it. I bought it like 6-7 months ago. I was out in the shop the other day, and it took me half an hour to find it. So that's what happens. You buy tools, you don't use them right away. You don't have a place for them. So I took a little piece of wood and ended up tapping it, and of course I can't spin that on there because I don't have my pin in there. So once we're able to tap that piece of wood, now that's on there nice and solid, not really moving anywhere. So that's what we're going to kind of look at today, how to do that. And I do have a few issues that we'll talk about. I didn't fix any of the issues because I thought, well, everybody else is going to struggle with this kind of stuff if they buy this tap and have these. How do I do this? So we're going to struggle along with you and do this again. So It wasn't the easiest chore to do. I don't have all the right tools, if you will. I'm not a machinist, so we'll struggle and work in a wood turning shop to make a threading tap work. So that's kind of my game plan. All right. So yeah, let me get set up here, and we do have. Oh, there I got my StreamYard window back up. We do have a question, I guess. Let me see what that is. Thank you. How much is the tool that looks like a hook? So the hook tool is a $40 tool, and that's for the hook only. So if I do what I just did again, not that one, that one, and we go to the web page, I can find it here. Those turning tools, it's easiest to find it under Michael Hoslick. Michael makes these hook tools. This is a hook tool. So that little piece is about 2.5, maybe 3 inches, 2 3/4 inches long. It's hardened D2 steel, and you stick that in a toolbar, which is something that I make. So Michael makes these up in Saskatoon, and there's a whole tutorial video there. There's some more information about it. And if I click on the hook toolbar by Todd Rains, there's the bar that it would mount into, and that bar would mount into a handle. So you have to kind of put the little system together. I do have a bundle that includes the hook tool, the toolbar, and a little hone. You still need a handle, and that is under the bundles. And there's the bundle there, hook tool bundle. So that's 101. So 40 for the hook, 45 for the bar, 11 for the hone, gets you to 101. And away you go. I think I got that right. Just wondering if I did the math right. But anyway, you can figure it out. So good question. Thank you for that question. It is, oops, let me switch back there. And I think that answered that question, right? Thank you very much for the question, Wanda. Yes, appreciate it. So actually had a customer well, I won't go into that one. Anyway, if you got questions about how to use the hook tool, please refer to the product page, watch the video over and over again, and start with a simple, small piece of end grain, clear, soft wood, piece of ash, piece of cherry, piece of soft maple, pine, 2x4s be fine. Something end grain to practice with. Don't go jumping into thinking you're gonna, cut these deep bowls with it. It takes some use, but it's a very efficient tool to use. So let's carry on with what we're doing here. So we're going to create a little tapped, I guess cup chuck, I guess, for the, what do you call it? I'm losing my words today. For the Tail Sock Live Center. So safety glasses on. I got a chunk. I don't even know what this is. I think it's ash. It could be sycamore. I've had it in the shop for quite a while. This is, by the way, face grain. Grain is going this direction, not end grain. I'm going to be tapping a hole, so I want face grain. It's going to tap better on the side grain than end grain. The one I did previously, I think, was, I want to say that's either oak or ash. So it was very hard. I think it's ash. I'll just double check that. I'm using 2 step centers. I've just got a bowl gouge here to kind of, I think my rest is too high. To clean that off, and let me put that one, not that one. Let me zoom that in a little bit. All right, setting up one other camera. think that's going to be okay. We'll put that in picture. Just using a 1/2-inch bowl gouge to rough. Get a little closer. Increase the speed a little bit. I'm a little low now. Just trying to get to round. We're close. Okay, we're round, and now let's take off a little bit on the ends to smooth those out, and we'll create a tenon. I've got my calipers here set to my jaw size for a tenon. I'm just smoothing the bottom down with a 1/8 inch parting tool. We'll get that started, grab the calipers. Do the other side. Oops, got my parting tool cut. I had my calipers in my hand and they were poking me in the gut. Made me jump. Really not necessary maybe to put tenons on both sides, but I thought it'll give me options. And with that done, I'm just going to use my skew as a negative rake scraper to create a dovetail. It's just a simple solution right now. Normally I'd use my little spindle gouge to do this, but it's such a small tenon, such a small cut, that makes it easy. So we've got tenons on both sides. We can hold it in our chuck. Now this is one of the things I learned, but we need to hold it to drill. And so we'll go through that process, and then we'll run into a bit of an issue that we have to solve. And we'll talk about that, but it's something I really didn't think about when I made the first one until I ran into the issue and went, oh, okay, that makes sense. A little mystery for you guys to kind of think about as I go through this, what the issue might be. So I've got a little chuck here. I'll put that on. What side? I want to know that I'm going to drill on one side and create a cup on the other side. I don't have any really issues with this blank anywhere, so it doesn't really matter at this point to me. So we'll just use this one. Now the size of blank that I need, I'll talk about that for a quick second. It's not necessarily the easiest thing to figure out, but I need it to be long enough when it's up against this shoulder of the live center, this bearing shoulder, that I have enough room out here to create a cup center. So I don't want the nose or the point poking through. My live center doesn't have the ability to change that point. There's no screw on this thing to adjust that. There might be a screw down the bottom. Maybe that's where it is. I just haven't really changed or checked. So I need some room out here. So I need this piece to be about 2 inches in width, or so if you got a board 2 inches thick, I guess, in a board sense. And then for diameter, I wanted at least this size or a bit bigger. So I just kind of made it about the size of the actual body of the live center. So that's the width this way. Sorry, it's right now we're about 2 inches, and then we're going to take it down to about, what's that, 1.5 inches? Yeah, about 1.5 inches, maybe 1 5/8 inches. So, and then we're going to drill it out. So let's kind of take it down a little bit. I want to make sure that this end is smooth, because that's where we're going to drill. Also, this is the surface that's going to be, put that on camera. This is the surface that's going to be bearing on the bearing surface. So I want this surface to be smooth. So let's deal with that quickly. I got a little, I guess the same. Here's a gouge. I have some gouges sitting out from my prep the other day. This is a overkill gouge, about a 1/2 inch spindle gouge. I just want to sweep it across here. Clean that surface off. Going to put a little point in there to kind of allow a place for the drill bit to sit. And take that off. I have to move this camera a little bit. Bringing up the tail stock. I've got to take this live center out, put in a Jacob's chuck, and do a bit of drilling. Are there any questions? Don't see any, but let's carry on. What am I looking for? Jacob's chuck. Key, drill bit. Excellent. We're set. And how deep am I going to drill? I guess I did have a mark on there. So if we look at kind of how deep we need to drill, out to about that line is plenty deep. So that's where we'll go to. Maybe that a little less than that. Turn the speed down. And just kind of push through for some drilling. I have a little shop brush I always keep near me just to clear chips. I don't want to usually use my hand because it gets a little warm. A little smoke. I should have sharpened my drill bit. I've got a garbage can underneath my lathe bed. I'm moving that out of the way in case there's hot embers here, which are probably might be. I really need to sharpen this bit, apparently. It's a little dull. Let's see how deep we went. That deep. Is that going to be deep enough? That looks like it's going to be deep enough. So we'll be good with that. So now we have the arduous job of trying to figure out how. And again, it's going It's going to be warm at that end, so don't touch that end. Now we've got this big tap, and we don't have a handle that's big enough to hold this, so I got some vice grips. But how do we hold it so it doesn't go all cockeyed in there? Well, that's something we're going to have to just deal with whatever tools we have. The other thing I noticed on this tap is that this end is pretty poorly made. Usually taps will have a little dimple in the end. This has a little protrusion. So I could take this over to the grinder, grind that stub, that little dimple off, or I guess blister. And I'd wondered if I could, this is something I wondered last night when I was thinking about this, whether or not I could actually mount this. Let me zoom back out a little bit. Back over here. I take this off. I'm going to take it off. I'll just mark where number 1 is. It's a pretty good fit on the tenon, so I'm not sure. Now these jaws have a, if I switch that camera, it's a little dark, but they have a little, I wonder, is that on spot focus? It is. Let me open up this iris a bit. The wrong way. It's about as wide open as I can get. They have a little flat surface in here. I open this up a little bit. These jaws go back, and then it's pretty open back here. So I'm wondering, do I have enough room? I don't think I do, to mount this, and I'm not going to be close enough. So it's not going to work. If I had something that had smaller jaw set, and I think even my 25 millimeters won't hold this 3/4 inch. So I'm not able to hold this anyway that I know of. To what I want to do is kind of drill off that bump, or drill a little dimple in there so I can get a point to push on it. But that's not going to work either. So we have all kinds of problems with poorly machined sort of tap in our shop. So what do? Well, we just kind of wing it. We figure it out. So I'm going to put this device back in, or this one back in, and we'll do the best we can with what we've got. And that is, there's my jaws right there. Just wiggling to see if it falls into place. Running nice and true. And that's problem number 2 that we're going to solve. Problem 1 is we've got a tap that we can't really use very well. I don't have a tool big enough. What I have found is that I've got another Jacob. I don't know if this one will do it. Let's see. Yeah, so this Jacob's chuck that I have here is not big enough to hold that guy. So that's a problem. I have another Jacob's chuck that is a hand tightened version. I'm not a fan of this chuck at all. Really, it doesn't hold very well, but it has a bigger capacity, and so I'm able to at least grip on it a little bit, or have it closed down as much as I can, and it's still wobbling around. So it's not the best solution. Sorry, folks. 1 second. I'm just silencing my phone because it's just happening too much. So we're back to this issue. How do we manage that? Well, we kind of don't. We just use it as leverage. I'm also going to have to figure a way to turn this. So I'm getting some vice grips in there, and that in there, and that lined up with the hole. Take this out of there. We're going to lock our spindle. So Trying to find where it's going to click and lock. Oh, come on. Really? There we go. So we got the spindle locked. We've got the tailstock locked. And so now this won't turn. So now what we need to do is to coordinate our movements. And I wonder what shot is going to show that. That one's not quite wide enough. That one will work. So we'll go to that. So we're kind of focused here, but we're kind of looking here. And I wonder if I can spot focus that. There we go. So down here, we've got the tap in the hole, ready to go. We got to turn this. This is kind of a bit of a mystery of how this is, helping us. But if I get it to a place where it kind of keeps it somewhat centered, it's not moving around. Sorry, it's not moving around a whole lot. That's kind of what I want. But as soon as I turn it, it loosens off. So it's not a good system, but it's what I got to work with. So I am tightening the tailstock handle here, and I'm tapping at the same time. So I'm pushing my tap in. At the same time, I'm pushing my turning my tap. I'm pushing it into the hole. So it's a bit of a coordinated effort. And if I get too tight in one spot, I loosen off on the tailstock, start tapping again. I feel it kind of loosen off. I'll run it around. So this tailstock, this jam chuck, or this Jacob's chuck is just forcing against these pliers right here at this interface, pushing the whole thing in as it keeps it kind of straight. And this is the handle for leverage to twist the tap. So let's back off. You can see as I back off, it comes out of the Jacob's chuck. It allows me to untwist and trying to keep it somewhat straight. So if you're in a woodworking shop and you don't have all the machinist tools to make this work, you just kind of jury rig what you can. So I'm just backing it off to, and my Jacob's chuck is bottomed out on my quill, to clear the chips and take a look at what we're doing. And if I look at this camera, and I don't know if I can zoom in a little bit to bear with me as can't really see. It's a little too dark, but let's see if I got this. I got this fancy light that somebody made for me. Little micro light. We can see that we're starting to get, and that's blowing out. Let me see if I can just kind of get it right. I don't have the camera angled right, but trying to focus. I don't think it's going to focus that close. Really? Come on, camera. There we go, finally. Anyway, trust me, there are some threads in there starting to work, so that's good news. So we got the chips cleared. We got to set up to do that again. So kind of get this set where we need it. Get that in the hole. And start the tap on the current threads. It's screwing in like a screw. So let me put that in overhead. That doesn't really do a whole lot. Just taking up the slack that we've already done. Lining that up to the vice grips. So now we're starting to cut again. Give it some pressure that way with the tailstock ram. And by the way, I have a corresponding depth mark on the tap to figure out how deep we need to go. It's tight, so back that off a little bit. And we're just about there. It's a bit of a coordinated, pat your head and, head and stomach at the same time sort of thing. So I can feel that I think I'm bottomed out in the hole now. I'm right up to my line, if you can see an overhead. I'm right up to my line there. So we're tapped all the way. So I'll take back that tailstock off, unwind a little bit, back it off a bit more. I don't want to take it all the way out because this is holding, this chuck is kind of holding this side to side, so I don't screw up the threads too bad, or cross thread them, if you will. So that is problem number one, or major problem to deal with. We have another problem that we're going to run into here in a minute. We'll figure out how we're going to solve that. So I think I'm all the way out of my hole. Yep. And I'm just going to get my air gun a little bit. Clean that out. And let's see how it works. Before I take it off, I'll just thread this guy on there. And it's going to go right up to the shoulder. What I'm going to do is just ease that entry hole a little bit so I don't get any binding or any extra sawdust or chip relief causing any interface problems with this surface. So we'll turn the lathe on. We'll get rid of this Jacob's chuck. This one has done its job. That's pretty much the only thing I use that thing for, is tapping. I don't use it for drilling. It just doesn't hold. I like the ones with the chuck keys. So just make one little relief cut here. Maybe just negative rake scraper with the skew. We're locked. Take the lock off. Just a little bevel action, chamfer on that leading edge allows us to get what we need done. So now we can kind of start to pre-shape a little bit how we want this thing to go. We know that that's good. We know that the depth is good. Oops, there goes my little pin device. We want, let's see, that face is there. So this is how, that's the line that we can, that's the line that we need to not go any deeper on with our cup. So I'm going to make a little mark there to kind of delineate that. So let me do that before I forget to mark the whole thing. And then we'll make a little design impact there to have us figure that out. Okay, what's the question in chat from Ronald? If you soak the threads with CA, it will be a lot stronger. Yeah, you could certainly do that. I've done that before in other projects as well. Cross threading and the right kind of wood, you'll be okay. It's not a super strong need, and sometimes CA is a bit brittle, and so. But I think that's good advice as well. I'm not going to do that today, just because I don't have it in front of me, and I don't want to smell those fumes right now. So, but yeah, good idea. Let's take a look, and we can thin this down a bit. I take a look at my calipers again. Open those up to that. That's kind of how big we can make this thing. So I've got about a 1/4 inch on either side of that this, maybe 3/16. So we can narrow this down a little bit and not make it so big. So just some pre-shaping on the lathe. I'm making this little sort of V-groove there to kind of tell me that that's where I need to stop and not take a cut back any further than that. Otherwise, we'll hit the point of the tool, so, or the point of the live center. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so now what we can do is turn this thing around and finish shaping it. So here is problem number 2 I ran into, and things to think about when you're making your own. As my intention was to make those 2 tenons, and there we go, on the floor again, make those 2 tenons so I could grab it on this side now and be able to finish shaping the hollow. Oh yeah, good idea. I shouldn't respond, but I am. So we're getting comms in my ear telling me what to do. So I'm responding to those folks. So it's good to have people helping you, and I appreciate it. And so when you get to this point and you're chucked up on your other chuck end, the drilled end, you want to shape this to a cone, and I'll show you what happens when we do that, and then we'll fix it. So this is a problem number 2, and let me put that on there, and we'll tighten this up a little bit. So we're just going to shape this into a general sort of cone shape, and I'm kind of cutting this like a spindle, even though it's not. It's space grain, so I am kind of going against the grain a little bit, and I think that's got it. Yeah. Okay. Good. There we go. Things are in focus now for you. Sorry about that, folks. So we'll kind of just make this a bit of a taper, so it's a bit out of the way when you're doing a cup, a sphere. And depending on the size of this sphere, you may want to make that bigger or smaller, but this size is about what I'm looking for. And just face this off. My tool rest is a bit high. I'll take this over this way a little bit. So we want to cut this out a little bit. This is a great place for, and I don't have it out, so I won't do it, I guess. I was going to say this is a great place for my teardrop scraper, but I don't have it at the ready. So we'll just scrape with the tool, just kind of, and relieve that a little bit so it's not quite so sharp. And now we can fancy it up a little bit if we want, and do some little decorations. Why not when you've got a little piece that you're working with to make it fancy? But what I want to show you is what the issue is with doing it this way, and that is, let's go ahead and mount this on our tailstock and see how it works. Take that off and grab our live center and put that little pin back. I did. So we got that on there. And we got the thread that guy on there. I got a little bit of stuff there. Hang on, it's just going to interfere with my fit. Tighten that up, pull that out. And if we take a close look at that, it's slightly out. If I roll that around, right? It's got a bit of a wobble to it. And if I bring my tool rest up nice and close to the end there, and I'll zoom in on that. So it looks like it's underneath it. I'll set the picture up so it's, I just got to bring this up a little bit. That'll work. That'll make it work. There's a gap there. It's tight there. A gap. See how it's not round, not in round or whatever. So that will help show it a bit better. It's nice and close there. It's rather far away there. So it's not perfectly centered. And the reason is because we centered everything on the drill hole, yet we mounted this turning and created this cup on a chuck. So what that means is that this circle here, this tenon circle, is not concentric with this hole. And it's more evident on this one than on the one I just turned. So you can see that we've got a skinnier side here than over here. And if we, I corrected this one. So we need to figure out a way to mount this on the lathe using this hole and then turn the outside in the cup using that mounting point, not the chuck point. So that's the important part. Don't chuck it here, chuck it here, and you'll get a nice concentric turning. So how do we do that? Well, we get one of these little things. It's a little screw arbor. This is actually a arbor number 2 Morse taper 3/4 by 10 arbor that I got from none other than the Rubber Chucky fella. So grab one of these and let's mount this guy up, and we'll use that to correct this problem. And I'll take this chuck off. I'll whack my knuckles on that if I do that. How do I mount this free-floating Morse taper in the headstock without it kind of flying off? Well, it does have a thread in the end, and I happen to have a, what do you call it, drawbar. So this is threaded rod, a couple of wing knobs on the end, a centering cone, just some plastic tubing to protect the threads on the inside of the spindle. This is going to go through the other side, the handle side of the spindle, and this inside there, this screw part is going to meet up with this screw part, and it's going to screw together. So now this Morse taper device cannot fall out of this headstock. So let's set that up. I can't show you the backside, unfortunately. It's just not in view of any cameras. But trust me, as I'm going through, if I stick my finger, I feel the end of the thread in there, and it's hitting on the end of it, goes in all the way. I can actually knock it out with this bar a little bit. So we just kind of blindly find how that threads up and thread it in and tighten it up. And now that Morse taper is not coming out. So now we can thread this guy on all the way up to that backing nut. And now we can turn this true. So let's tighten that up a little bit. Get back over here. Put that on. And let's try this other shot. Let's do that one. Let me zoom that in a little bit. Is that focusing with it? It's not quite yet. There we go. Focused to automatic. Oh, good. Good. Okay. So a little bit more here. Wrong way. All right. So now we can, if we turn this on, we can probably see a little, out of roundness and stuff. I can feel it for sure. This one's not as bad as my first attempt, but still not quite round. So now we can turn it down to size and stuff like that. So we can take the size back down a little bit. That's why I didn't take it down to full size. We're on the chuck because I knew this problem existed. So you can use any tool to take this down with. Looks good. And then we'll kind of recreate that line in there. Just want to take out a little bit at the nose, not a whole lot, just to get it round. And create a little detail there. Bevel that corner. Let that be a little less sharp. And then we'll just do a few little V grooves. This is face grain, so this isn't probably a good way to do this, but I'm just going to do a few of them just to kind of give it some interest. Why not when it's a working piece? Practice, try some different things and decorations. And that'll do. A little bit of sandpaper. I'm just going to turn that dust collector on a little bit. I got to clean out that front part. That's what I didn't do. I forgot. I felt it when I sanded. I was sanding in here, and I could feel it wasn't concentric. So I forgot to do that. We'll take that, cut that part. So a little cut, maybe a little scrape. Kind of get my hand out of the way a little bit. And then just take that edge off. That should be nice and concentric now. Feels better. A little bit of sanding just to knock the rough edges off. And now we've got a nice cup center that will go on this guy. Oops. So that's running nice and true now, it looks like it to me. So that's kind of my, I got to clean those up. I'll probably burn those. Doing V-cuts and face grain is not the best idea. I could use a scraper, probably work better. But kind of gives you an idea of how to create a nice cup center for the headstock. And then I think, did I have it over here? I don't know where I put the other one. This one, now we've got to take our drawbar off, knock out our little adapter, and we have a Morse taper cup center. And now we've got two centers that we're going to work between centers. And if I just turn that on, we got two that should match up just very nicely. What I may end up doing is putting a little, did I have it out? Yeah, I did. Depending on the wood I'm turning for the sphere tomorrow, I may end up putting some rudder mat or some leather in between on the faces of the cups. If my wood that I'm turning my sphere out of is softer than these, then I'll end up marring up my sphere. So some of this may help doing that. So let's see how well this. So they turn pretty good together. That light is kind of blowing that out a little bit. should turn that light down. I remember that for tomorrow. But I think they fit pretty good. So I'm quite happy about that. So now I got a couple of different cup centers. They're going to work better than the old slip over style. Let's just do that comparison because that is night and day. Take this guy off. What I used to use was just one that slipped over that. And you can see that it's not very stable there. It's going to kind of ravel around. I tighten up the tailstock. It's kind of, you can see how wobbly it is. So it's not the best way to do it, but it was a way to do it that I knew 15 years ago and been using it for a long time and got away with it. But I think this is going to be much better. So yeah, well, that's kind of what I wanted to show today was this little guy. And what do I got here? Sorry, I'm just looking through my notes and looking to see has a taper in the nose. The point can be okay. So somebody's answering a question. Excellent. Any other comments or questions? I don't see any. Okay, excellent. It's just sorry, looking at the thing here. I'm just trying to see. So we know what time it is. Yeah, we're on time. An hour into it, so we got that little project done. So I will be back. I believe next Friday. You'll get the notices if you subscribe to the channel, YouTube. Then you'll get notifications when I go live. And if you're friends on Facebook, you'll get that as well. But check my channels out that way, and we'll certainly look forward to seeing what I do next. Or if you got any sort of topics you want me to talk about or demonstrate, any tool questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And beyond that, I wish everybody a happy weekend, and I hope to see you tomorrow at the Turn and Oval Box in it with a sphere lid. So again, that is I don't know. Let me see. Not that one. That one. So this guy other side, Todd. This guy beside me. We'll probably end up doing the small one, right there, the shorter one. It's going to be easier to view, but the principles are exactly the same. It's just hollowing a bit deeper, and so looking forward to that. Should be a lot of fun. It's going to be well attended. I think I've got several, at least 80 more people. So join about a half an hour early, and we'll have some time to chit chat and get settled and stuff like that. So you'll see an email ticket, and for those that here's something to know as well. For those that have a ticket, if I go and if I do that and get out of the way, if you have a ticket, you go to the event page. And I am not logged in, but if you have a ticket, there'll be a join meeting down here. So we can take a look at that. Let me just see if I can do that out here. I don't think I'm going to be able to. So no, but that's what you would do is if you lose your ticket in the email. Come on, mouse work. Oh, this mouse on the Mac is so much different. if you lose your ticket and or can't find it in your email, everybody will get an email ticket. You can come to this page, come to the event page on Woodturning Tool Store, and right down below all the description where it says add to Google Calendar, there will be a watch button and the Zoom link. For all those that have bought tickets and are logged into the website, you can not worry about the email and just go there, log in, go to the event page, and you'll find a button to join the meeting. So easy peasy. So hope to see you there. Check it out. It should be a lot of fun. And I'm still in that. So let me go back to here. And we should, we should be good to go, I think. Any last things I've missed? I don't think. Excellent. Well, thank you everybody for joining me, bearing with me through this little demo of this threaded cup center for your revolving tailstock center. And we'll check you out tomorrow, and we'll see you next week, next Friday. That's it for me, Todd from Woodturning Tool Store. We'll say good night, have a good weekend, and bye for now.